Towers presentation with the Carrier and Edwards logos. Is that what you're seeing on your screen?
Yes.
Okay, because I can't see what you can see. So again, thank you, Taylor, and thank you to Integrated Protection for hosting this webinar. My name is Chris McCarthy. I'm the District Manager for Edwards Kit of Life Safety for Ohio, Kentucky, Southern Indiana, and West Virginia. And I appreciate everyone taking time today to learn more about this topic. I hope you and your families and colleagues are staying safe and healthy. Now, it's no secret to this group of attendees that COVID-19 has and continues to disrupt millions of lives in the global economy, an impact that could extend for many years. Before COVID, there was a lot of discussion about smart, safe, intelligent buildings, focused on lowering energy cost, integration of systems throughout the building, and improving occupant experience. Well, those smart buildings are still important, but the conversation has changed to a new focus: occupant well-being. Buildings are increasingly being designed or renovated to support the health and well-being of occupants. However, sometimes in this process, fire and life safety systems are often overlooked, as also being an important factor in creating a desirable building environment. So today I'm going to give a brief overview on what safe and healthy buildings are and how fire and life safety systems are a part. Then we'll talk specifically about these systems and how they can specifically improve the safety for your occupants. So with that, let's talk briefly in more detail about the current status. Buildings are increasingly being designed to support the safety, health, and well-being of occupants. Building codes, design guidelines, and standards are continually being updated, including addressing COVID-19, requiring innovative thinking around designing new buildings, as well as retrofitting existing ones. Buildings can directly impact the bottom line for a business, from reducing operational costs by reducing energy waste, like our new low current draw, less power supply LED devices, to increasing worker productivity, to securing higher rentals, and to improve occupant satisfaction scores that leads to higher retention and distinguishes a workplace from simply being safe to being seamlessly healthy and safe. Today's reality is that because of COVID-19, occupants have new expectations for their health and safety in indoor environments. HVAC, security, and life safety systems play a critical role in providing the confidence occupants need to return to the places where they work, learn, or visit. So let's talk about the impact of healthy buildings from a numbers perspective. We spend 90% of our time indoors. Keeping people safe and secure is an imperative for all of us. Each of us can play a role, whether designing a building, specifying the products to be used, or maintaining the system's infrastructure. The decisions add up to major implications, such as improving cognitive function and personal and societal health and safety. It's impressive to think about the impact we can make together. Our purpose at Carrier and Edwards is to make the world a safer, healthier place to live. This is why Edwards and Carrier created the Healthy Buildings, or HB, program, and I would like to briefly provide an overview before continuing. Through HB strategies and expertise, we can shift the role of the buildings beyond places to live, work, and learn into powerful tools that drive human health and progress. With focus on 6 key verticals shown here, the HB program provides an expanded suite, one-stop shop of advanced solutions to help deliver healthier, safer, more efficient, and productive indoor environments. Our innovations start with meeting customer needs, which is why we have been thrilled to keep the dialogue going. There are numerous areas to consider when thinking about healthy buildings, as we have here on the slide, right? And while a major focus of the Carrier Healthy Buildings program and the statistics on the earlier page is on heating and air and the impact of green building technologies, There is also a fundamental aspect of healthy buildings, and that is overall safety and security, where the Edwards product lies. And if you think about it in terms of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, safety and security is fundamental to our ability to thrive, coming after our basic needs like food and water. Some data pertinent to the discussion. Fires in non-residential buildings resulted in an annual average of 90 deaths, 1,350 injuries, and $2.4 billion in property losses in the U.S. between 2014 and 2016. Other life-threatening emergencies can occur in the building at any time without notice. Fire and life safety systems are designed to protect life and prevent serious injury. But even without injuries or fatalities, the impact of an emergency can have other lasting impacts. Stress related to these types of events, or even the anticipation of such an event, can negatively impact mental and physical health. Employers are recognizing the competitive advantage that safe and healthy workplaces can provide by reducing job dissatisfaction, burnout, and other increased health costs and workers' compensation. Healthy buildings optimized with advanced fire and life safety systems can help meet that objective. So let's dive in a little deeper. As we move more directly into the life safety topic, I want to share some insights from a recent Voice of the Customer initiative. We spoke with a sample of individuals who are responsible for making their buildings safer in the new normal. Participants were in various roles such as property management, facility management, strategy, risk management, security management, building owners, IT management, architecture, finance, HR, and operations. Our attendees today are representative of these important jobs. So let's get into the salient takeaways from our Voice of the Customer. As mentioned earlier, occupant expectations are changing as they consider returning to their workplace. Organizations are at various stages of their planning and implementation process to improve safety. Regardless of their relative maturity, it is evident that safety is front and center in ways not seen previously, and it is causing several questions to come up. How to ensure building systems are leveraging the latest technology. How to keep everyone safe and healthy without shutting down a building. What is the long-term financial impact of not maintaining a safe environment for employees? Employee pride, lease terms, things of that nature. We are enhancing designs and moving away from what are the minimum building and code standards of building a new business home to how can we make the environment safe, secure, healthy, and welcoming. In other words, facilities are being challenged with finding solutions that make occupants feel safe and at home. So what did we hear from the research participants as the current status? It is clear that the safety solution tipping point has not yet been reached. A number of factors are still being considered. Financial constraints brought on by the pandemic, budgets are tight, capital expenditures are limited. Outside of fire systems, there is uncertainty in the effectiveness of today's solutions to manage through situations like a pandemic. How did we get to where we are today? Is anything we have now effective? Are questions that are asked. Concerns regarding occupant compliance. What is the realistic to ask of employees and visitors? What is it in an employer's right to enforce? The need for backwards compatibility and forward migration of existing infrastructure is a prominent consideration and something that here at Edwards we have made a mainstay of ours for the last 30 plus years. So how are these considerations impacting buildings and enabling the transformation from smart to healthy. The concept of a healthy building is a natural extension of what was often discussed as a smart building before COVID. Today, the discussion is much more than just smart buildings. It is how those same smart technologies can also help achieve a healthy building. Healthy buildings help ensure the sustained health and well-being of the occupants while simultaneously making them feel safe in the present. As I covered earlier, there are many dimensions to a healthy building, and I will share insights and recommendations to help each of you take proactive steps to ensure safer and healthier buildings. Our research called out two key considerations: confidence and adaptability. So let's talk more about occupant confidence and building adaptability. On confidence, I briefly talked about the psychological implications if these core human needs are not met, which could translate into poor employee performance, such as lowered productivity. Opportunities exist through fire and life safety systems to instill confidence in the occupants that they can safely inhabit the buildings. On adaptability, research identified three main components: longevity, compatibility, and scalability. Longevity refers to technology that will be relevant in the future and won't become outdated soon. Compatibility focuses on solutions that work with existing systems and do not require new infrastructure. And scalability describes technology that can grow along with the changing needs of the facility. Today is not a flash in the pan moment. Decisions made today will have long impact, must be compatible with future investments, and offer some form of scalability based on the unique needs of each business. We'll now review a few suggestions on how life safety systems can contribute to what we have discussed thus far. So let's tackle the first one, which is going beyond the baseline. Baseline being, what does the code require? Being a building owner or facility manager goes with accepting responsibility for safeguarding the lives of building occupants every day. Part of that responsibility is having knowledge of advances in fire and life safety systems. It's easy to take for granted the advanced detection, alarm, and signaling technologies operating in a facility, but they are the silent workhorses keeping every occupant secure and safe. Facility and risk managers must think strategically now, as fire alarm systems go well beyond "I need to meet code." The presence of modern building materials and new types of incident threats need to be addressed in new ways as well. Campus-style and multi-unit building complexes require advanced networking designs that challenge fire safety principles in new ways. Innovation in life safety systems has increased exponentially over the years to help address these issues. Now, the following are key areas where innovation and other advances can lead to actionable programs. One of the biggest advances in decades in the life safety industry stems from the revised standard for smoke detectors for fire alarm systems, also known as UL 268 7th edition. So it's the underwriter's written standard for how smoke detectors must operate, and we're now on the 7th edition. The revision incorporates three new tests: two polyurethane foam tests for smoldering and flaming fire, and a new cooking nuisance alarm test. The first two tests acknowledge that many modern furnishings made of synthetic materials like polyurethane ignite and burn faster than traditional materials, making it important to give building occupants enough time to evacuate. Most fire deaths are caused by smoke inhalation, where smoke overcomes the building occupants quickly. These new synthetic materials used in mattresses, seat cushions, couch cushions, anything that's a cushion today, polyurethane foam, can generate dangerous substances. Polyurethane foam cushioning can contribute majorly to intensity of the heat and propagation of flame spread in a fire. This is a concern because as a building fire grows, it often consumes most of the available oxygen and slows the burning process. Incomplete combustion then results in toxic gases that make smoke even more dangerous. The third test was designed to differentiate between nuisance particles, like cooking smoke, dust, or steam, and actual hazards to reduce nuisance alarms and therefore disruptions in operations. These smoke detectors, the code that came out with the UL 268 7th edition to make these enhancements was originally supposed to be enforced in May of this year, but it's been extended now to June of 2022. The Edwards product that hopefully some of you have in your buildings are all backwards compatible with this new technology. It'd be a matter of taking down an existing smoke detector that was made to the previous standard and replacing it one for one with the new detector that has the new enhanced steam resistance, the new faster pickup of the polyurethane foam, and the resistance to burning meat. We actually have to pass a test fire with 2 hamburgers, and they have to cook to a brick without setting off the detector. So all backwards compatible, unlike some of our competitors, whereby more control equipment inside the cabinet would have to be changed, or even the panel itself. But we have backwards compatibility back to our platform from the 1980s. An additional enhancement to the safety and health of a building can be the ability to have a voice notification system. In any emergency, the speed of decision making varies greatly from occupancy to occupancy and person to person. In fire events, behavior has been well documented, and the most striking finding concerns the extent to which people respond in a timely manner to various alarms. One study on human behavior, which was published by a Canadian consulting engineer, revealed that responsiveness was bells, 13%, text information, 45%, and voice messaging, 75%. So an extremely enhanced reaction to a voice message. Clearly efficient and effective occupant voice notification strategies are critical in a commercial building. Some occupancy types already are required to use pre-recorded or live voice instructions rather than an audible tone. High rises have been for some time, but another example is schools with greater than 100 occupants now require voice alarms, and the trend toward deploying voice in more applications is intensifying because voice is more effective than simple tones. Advanced voice alarm systems can produce the right message to be heard at the right time by the right people to help with more efficient and effective evacuations. Now, while the rationale for voice, I'm sorry, my slide advanced on me. While the rationale for voice notification may be clear, it is important that the messages conveyed are clear as well. When evaluating a voice system, the volume for audibility purposes is only one factor in the equation. So how loud is that message? The clarity of the audio, its intelligibility, is equally important. For example, speakers should provide a clear, crisp output over large areas and reach a measured intelligibility in excess of 0.76 on the speech transmission index. This requires the use of specialized low frequency tones to measure that intelligibility. Additional tones can also be deployed that are required in certain environments like commercial sleeping areas due to their ability to better alert and awaken sleeping occupants. For developers of low-rise multi-dwelling units, like condominiums and apartments, where NFPA code requires low-frequency tones to be heard inside of each living unit and sleeping space, it can be tempting to only deploy the low-frequency sounder instead of a voice-type speaker or system. However, it has become significantly more cost-effective to deploy emergency voice systems in these applications. And of course, there's the enhanced operability of additional messages. A voice system can deliver both the code required low frequency and additional notification through live voice or pre-recorded messages. Building owners and managers can now get additional return on investment because live voice or pre-recorded messages can be distributed, advising residents to shelter in place due to another type of emergency, as well as advising residents that the emergency has ended and the building or surrounding area is back to normal. This is obviously a benefit to first responders as well. As previously stated, 75% of people respond to voice messages versus bells or general horn sound. So a cost-effective voice fire alarm system can help assure more people know what is occurring during an emergency. On the fire panel side, another one of the advances available in notification management is improved survivability. What I mean by survivability in this case is that the audio messages can be stored in each networked panel database, making them independently capable of broadcasting the appropriate message. For example, a fire in one zone does not result in the loss of communications in another zone. This is crucial in facilities that react to emergencies by zone or by floor. One more point on notification. The introduction of LED technology for notification appliances and related lower power requirements can reduce deployment cost and the number of power supplies needed, making the decision to invest in voice systems easier than ever. As an example, we have seen savings between 40 and 60% in terms of fewer power supplies and simpler installation. This, of course, saves you, the end user, money over time in less power draw and equipment to maintain. While many of you are familiar with the typical indoor notification systems, we can also look at extending the capabilities of the system outdoors. Also, with new IP networking technology, systems like our new EST4 from Edwards can interface with an IP telephony and paging system through a simple module interface to the fire alarm. This allows you to assign an extension to the IP phone system so that the interior and exterior fire alarm system speakers, as well as the IP phone intercom speakers, can announce the emergency page or message and tone. The benefit of this type of interface is that in the event of an emergency, the appropriate staff have the ability to use the phone system to broadcast messages or updates using the fire alarm speaker system, further extending notification capabilities. This provides additional assurance that occupants that may be in a location where there are no intercom speakers receive the emergency or non-emergency message. A variety of speaker options exist to cover large areas or areas where it is often difficult to have consistent sound quality. In many cases, the amount of paging speakers can be reduced, and additional return on investment is then provided through the fire alarm system. We do have customers that have completely eliminated their paging system in lieu of using the fire alarm as a replacement because it is supervised, battery backed up, and they know that that system is going to work when it has to work. Additionally, the fire alarm system speakers and wiring are supervised. So if there's a fault with the speakers or wiring, facility staff will know immediately there's an issue that needs to be addressed. well before an emergency event occurs. Key points to think about when evaluating designing an emergency communication and paging system. System easily expandable. Future proof. UL listed. Code mandated. Provides supervision of the main components. Provides battery backup. Distributed intelligence. Significant message storage capacity. Cybersecurity, like firewalls, which the EST4 and the Fireworks graphic user interface supplied by Edwards both have. Limited disruptions to business, less parts, less cable, less points of failure, and quicker deployment. Notification systems work best when paired with an overall incident management system. The days of mass notification being limited to a distributed messaging service are fading, as that is only part of the equation in incident management. Modern incident management systems have to enable fire alarm, mass notification, and building integration in one comprehensive solution. Of paramount importance is having the capability of two-way communication with external devices, such as building management systems, enabling real-time system status and decision-making from anywhere. Distributed messaging may only deliver opt-in communications, so the local community and visitors may be left out, and distributed messaging being text messages and emails. Combining distributed messaging with in-building and wide-scale voice enunciation from the fire alarm system hub can help expand coverage to more of the building occupants. In connecting multiple buildings, up-to-date fire alarm panels should utilize modular architectures that incorporate advances in network configuration, audio survivability, and when connecting to external networks, adequate levels of cybersecurity, all while complying with the latest codes and standards. This enhanced capability is not only critical to manage fire and related hazards, but also events like weather emergencies, environmental crisis, or active shooters. Modern fire panel systems are ideal for incident management, as they are designed, installed, and tested in a manner that ensures survivability, meaning they will operate when most needed. Additionally, using the fire alarm system as the core of emergency communications extends the benefits of investing in voice enunciation that we spoke about earlier. So sophisticated notification and incident management strategies are a good segue to talk about safe occupant evacuation. Unlike traditional emergency response applications, where elevator service is disabled during a fire alarm event, new building codes allow for occupant evacuation elevators, or OEEs. Occupant evacuation operation, as defined by NFPA, interfaces between the fire alarm control panel and the elevator systems to prioritize event types and provide occupants with safe and efficient evacuation options. The use of these systems will typically be for new, very tall buildings where designs are considering the overall evacuation capacity of the building. In the event of an alarm on any floor, the discrete interface can send elevators to the floors in the evacuation zone, plus any additional floors above and below, ensuring that those at highest risk will be able to evacuate quickly. Such a system delivers real-time audio and visual messages on each floor, indicating the status of the specific evacuation elevator. It provides communication confirmation signals back to the fire alarm control unit so that audio and visual notifications are consistent. Multiple messages will be played throughout the facility, depending on where the users are in relation to the evacuation floors. Implementation occurs via an extensively trained network of applications professionals and channel partners who can work with any elevator manufacturer to integrate state-of-the-art control units. Another recent trend to help with overall emergency response is the requirement for buildings to have adequate radio coverage for first responders. This challenge was highlighted during 9/11 and in other emergencies where first responder radio systems just didn't work as effectively as needed. Effective coverage is accomplished through what is often referred to as emergency responder communication enhancement systems, or you may have heard of it as radio repeaters or distributed antenna systems or bidirectional amplifiers. The goal of these systems are to ensure that public safety radio signals meet a minimum standard both inside the building and outside. This allows first responders to communicate effectively in the event of an emergency, which can lead to overall occupant safety. In fact, the FCC estimates that an improvement of 1 minute for 911 response time would save 10,000 lives in the U.S. annually. Requirements and standards began to show up in 2013 in both NFPA and the International Fire Code, and adoption of these codes in recent years is driving the requirement for these systems. So if you have not yet invested in this area, you may be subject in the future. This impacting most new buildings and even some existing buildings. For example, in Florida, the authority having jurisdiction shall determine the minimum radio signal strength for fire department communications in all new high-rise and existing high-rise buildings. IFC 510 says that 95% of all areas of each floor should meet signal strength requirements, and the same signal strength requirements for transmissions from within the building to outside also need to be met. We talked earlier about green building technologies, and there is an interesting intersection here, as low E cladding can have an adverse impact on radio coverage, as can other building designs and materials that need to be considered. Like with fire, each jurisdiction can have unique requirements, such as a few jurisdictions in Northern California are now requiring monitoring of passive components, but there are some other national changes coming. And one is the creation of a new NFPA standard, NFPA 1225, new consolidation plan of 2 existing codes, and there are also updates. Another is UL 2524, which is a relatively new UL test standard for these systems and will be a required standard in future code updates. One question that comes up from building owner is who pays for the testing to see if an enhancement system is needed? The answer is that the building owner is responsible. Also, there can be retests if modifications are made to the building or if the public agency's radio system changes. There are also annual testing requirements. So if a building was enhanced with the BDA or bidirectional amplifier system, and then years down the road, the glass on the outside was changed to low E glass, it could be that it nullified the operational ability of that system. So they need to be tested. A good resource for more information on this is the Safer Buildings Coalition. These systems are required to be monitored by the fire alarm system, and through a recent strategic agreement with ADRF, a leading provider of these types of solutions, Edward partners now have access to this important technology and can deliver as part of their overall building safety offering. In addition to enhanced response, another element of building safety can come from not actually being in the building, and this is remote monitoring. Keeping people safe is a key with any fire alarm system, but leveraging remote monitoring and diagnostics reduces the need to physically be on site. These services provide engineers and service providers with the ability to connect in real time to interrogate, diagnose, and reduce the amount of time spent in a building servicing a system. This can not only reduce potential physical interactions, but can have a positive impact on the bottom line through more efficient service visits. I know we covered a lot of information today, and as I mentioned, this can be a complex challenge. The key is to set a vision for a healthy building and then to get started and make progress. This is not and should not be a one-time effort. It is incremental, but requires a bold vision and consistent leadership focused on occupant safety and security. As a reminder, some of the notable points from today were referenced on the screen. So I know this didn't take an hour. This is a new initiative for Carrier and Edwards. I appreciate your time today, and if there are any questions, I'll turn it back over to Taylor, and she can forward those on for review.
So I'm checking the chat now, and I don't see anything, but I have a question that I think might help people. Can you talk a little bit about the CARES Act and how it could benefit folks looking to maybe make updates to their fire alarm system?
You're hitting me like I was not prepared for that question.
Okay, that's totally fine. We can chat offline, and I can send out some information to everybody.
Yeah, I have a white paper that I had sent to everyone, but I can resend it.
Okay.
And then, yeah, then we'll be able to follow up. But I wasn't ready for that question, and I don't have it queued up right now.
Okay, not a problem. Before we go to our raffle, does anybody have any questions over the materials? If so, hop on your mic or drop it into the chat. I've got the chat open now. Going once, going twice. Alrighty, let's move on to our raffle. I've got my super official. Yes, I just got a chat that said a message in the chat that says yes. So I don't know if that means yes, I have a question. If so, type your question while I pull a name. All right. Justin Jones, are you still with us? Yes, you are. Awesome. You are our raffle winner, and so I will get that out to you. And then again, customers who were able to join us, thank you for your time today, and I will follow up about your lunch gift card as well as a link to the recording if you want to review anything, and also that white paper that we talked about. And if you have any questions, you know how to reach me. So with that, have a good rest of your afternoon. Thanks.
Thanks, Taylor.